Hey there.
Good morning, Jordan. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Guess we'll just hang on, wait for the rest of the crew to join us, and we'll kick off.
Awesome. Are you guys
Thank
getting
you.
snow?
We got a tiny little bit last night, sort of overnight, and they're saying a little bit, but who knows? Personally, I'm a fan of the snow, so I say bring it on, but
Yeah. Now, where
not
are
so much.
you? Where physically are you? What part? You're in New York, right?
Yeah, I'm in New York, so I live just outside of the city, north in Riverdale.
Okay.
Are you Atlanta born and raised, or?
I am not. I grew up in St. Louis.
Well, there you go.
Yes. But a lot of my college friends are from the New York area. So,
Nice. Do you make your way up here often, or?
they all left.
Oh no, there you go. I can appreciate that.
So several are in Chicago, one's in Miami,
Oh wow, so they really
and one
spread
is
out across the country a little bit.
and one's in Cambodia.
Well, there you go. I mean,
Yeah,
somebody has to go, right? Oh my.
exactly.
What are they doing in Cambodia?
He teaches English.
That's incredible. There you go.
He was like
If
a
you don't mind me,
fourth grade teacher in Long Island, and then
is this like lifelong decision for him? Has he been doing this for a while, or what? I mean, that's just
he's been there
amazing.
like 5 or 8 years.
Oh my God, how cool.
Yeah,
I mean, I lived on Long Island for several years. I can appreciate wanting a change of scenery. I
yeah,
don't know that Cambodia would, but that's incredible. What an amazing opportunity to see the world, though, and do
yeah.
something good and humanitarian at the same time. No real downside there.
No.
Jordan, what's your day-to-day job? What are you doing? Just, I'm sure you've
So
already all of this to our team, but have
yes,
not been
I
those conversations.
I manage customer insights, so market research, uh, da- you know, customer analytics for essentially, broadly for a trade association, but we run our own trade shows.
Oh
Um,
wow.
so for basically for all of the attendees of our events. So this is where it's very natural fit. Like I am in our registration systems for our trade shows every day, pulling data, getting reports to people, um, things like
I,
that. So
I selfishly cannot tell you how excited that makes me. I've been doing this for a couple of years now, and it's always a little terrifying when you get on like the first call and the people on the call are like, "Well, I've never used a computer like this before," and you're just like, "Okay, here we go. We've got this. We're gonna do this. We'll get you comfortable." But the fact that you're already comfortable with data
yeah,
management and analytics, and so I can even that's actually great. So I can show you as we sort of go through the trainings. One of the things that I don't necessarily do with all the communities is some of the fun analytic opportunities that RegPack gives us. They turn everything into data charts. They'll pull I mean, they'll do everything for us.
awesome.
Definitely
That's
go into
good. And
that.
then what we'll probably do is like so our my registration like sub chair, I might have a
Mm-hmm.
training do some of that with him because he's pretty adept with stuff like this too. I think that might be a so once we're kind of through the three of us all having like our kind of top end training, I definitely want to get him some training on some of the analytics and also pulling some of the reports to that way. Kind of
Yes.
what I talk to him is, I want very few of the people pulling reports. I want them asking us for reports because it just, it's too easy to mess up like we've talked about. And that way it simplifies it. If it's like if the housing people just get a report with X, Y, and Z housing information and they don't have to see, what,
All the pieces.
yeah, some, random information that they don't need. They don't need their medical information necessarily. I don't, um,
Yeah.
things like
Of
that.
course.
So,
Hi
The only
guys.
Hi, Lori. Good morning, Carissa. So the only thing that I would say to that, Jordan, is you want to be somewhat strategic during the week of. So
yes.
whether it's an intern that you trust, whether it's somebody that you know will be capable of pulling and doing that stuff, you want to make sure you have somebody just in case
Yeah,
you're
and that's
busy
what
doing
Rick will. That's
higher
absolutely
level.
what Rick, the co-chair,
Perfect.
where he comes in as well as that week of. So that way, one, I'm a little more free to do more than just that.
Of course.
Can you
Yeah.
just fill me in on what you
Of
were
course, we're
saying?
talking about who's going to be pulling reports and distributing to the different committees sort of week of. So for your volunteers and for your host families who are going to need pretty much daily report updates, what that process is going to look like as far as pulling them and sharing them versus giving them access to pull the information on their own.
Yes. Okay.
And that's where I was saying where Rick really comes in at that point too, to be, so that way, one, I can do more broad things during the week of,
And Lauren said she would.
right. And then Lauren, yeah, and I know Lauren's pretty,
well.
right. So between Lauren, who's our volunteer chair, and Rick, who's our registration chair.
Perfect.
I think like beyond that, I don't want a whole lot of people dipping into things.
I think between the four of us and having Carissa's expertise,
Absolutely.
do you think that would work, Dina?
Oh, 100%. And I would say, listen, as you sort of develop your volunteers and as you sort of build out what Maccabi Central looks for you guys, if you feel like there's one or two volunteers who are really going to be there the duration of the week who are fantastic, I would even recommend giving one of them or two, and I'm happy to do it with you guys, a training and getting them just for the report pulling purposes. And we can really block out all the other information if we want to, just so that if somebody pops in, let's say a volunteer chair runs into Maccabi Central and needs an updated list for the afternoon shifts, there's somebody there who's comfortable pulling that information.
Right.
Absolutely.
So how many people do you think should be in Maccabi Central?
So the first couple of days are really quintessential to be fully staffed. You're really going to open up the opportunity to pick up credentials and things like that to your local community sort of the couple days prior, either Thursday or Friday, depending on what makes sense for your community. And you're going to want to be really fully staffed that Friday when your local spectators may be coming up to pick up passes. Some of the visiting spectators who have come in early may come to pick up their passes. So you want to be staffed then. And again, you set certain hours and you communicate that to the field. And one of the things we'll talk through is sort of in this training is these emails that you can push that'll send this information to the field easy and seamlessly, so you guys don't have to worry about individual follow-up and sort of that component. So we can send an email, 3 weeks out saying, guys, a reminder, please visit the JCC on Thursday at XY time, and you'll be able to pick up your credentials, and you'll do certain staffing hours for the couple of days prior where you're going to probably want about 5 people, give or take.
5 people. Okay.
Yeah,
that's just what I was asking, like how many people literally need to be in there to.
Probably. You're thinking about 5, give or take, for the first couple of days. Again, just because you're going to be running off a lot of credentials. The kids are going to be losing them. New volunteers, new spectators are going to be registering. So those first couple of days are really quintessential for about 5 or 6. Knowing that within that is also a representative of your volunteer committee and a representative of your housing committee. So it's 4 people who will actually be doing the Maccabi Central components, and then 2 other representatives who are there to help and answer phones and triage those questions. And again, especially for the first days, as housing changes need to be made, as requests are coming in, you want to make sure there's a person on staff there who can help facilitate those changes.
Yes, and Jordan Kelly said she'd be in there too, because she's our housing chair.
Okay. Yeah, and I'm taking the whole week off so I can be there. And I think Rick said he's available the whole week.
Right. So Kelly can help from the housing, to answer all the housing things, and Lauren can do all the volunteer thing, so I think we'll.
Yeah.
And Amy Fox, obviously.
Yeah, and also it frees some of us up, like if we, one, like Kelly's kids are going to be athletes.
Watch her kids, right.
Noah's going to do stuff. So, and you're, one of, you get one kid in. So
100%. And I also want to, keep in mind that that's your staff, right? Please know that as Carissa didn't get to see it on the ground necessarily because they didn't go to Milwaukee, but I will be with you guys in Maccabi Central for pretty much the duration of the week as well. In addition to, I know it wasn't fair. All the training that I didn't get you.
I know.
And we'll have an intern or 2 with us as well. So we will be able to provide additional staff as needed as well. So that sort of to that point earlier, if you have somebody whose child is playing or something has happened that they want to go do, we certainly, while we need them as volunteers, we want them to enjoy this experience as well. So you guys will certainly have the opportunity to deviate from that room to go and experience other parts of the program as well.
And Dina, we're thinking about having a mock Maccabi Central at Marist. What do you think we need all over at the secondary location?
So I think, you need I would say 2 printers just in case one goes down. If you can get a copy machine. And you want 2 or 3 computers that have web access and a phone line that goes in are really going to be your things, because you're going to want to be able to triage questions that come in. You're going to want to be able to reprint and print credentials, especially because it's an off-site location where a lot of the athletics are happening. So as kids lose their credentials and as things come in, or as spectators come in and forgot their credential at home, you're going to want to be able to reproduce those on the spot. But you certainly don't need a full setup and a full triage and a full staff. 2 people, and again, 2 or 3 computers with access to the internet. You want a hard line in. That's something that's important to remember. And if you can't get a hard line in, you're going
What
to want
does
to make
that mean? Like an actual phone line?
Yeah, like an Ethernet line, just for your internet connection. And if you don't have access to an Ethernet, you want to make sure that you're exploring the strength of the internet and talking it through with, depending on the strength, is it something that you open up to all of the athletes who are then going to potentially boggle down low speed? Or in turn, are you bringing hotspots and are you bringing boosters and are you setting something up specifically for Maccabi Central to guarantee you have reception for the duration of your time there?
Okay. So, Chris, is this something we talked to Marist about? Yeah. Okay. Got it.
And then again, that's one of those things that by the end of the week, by late Wednesday, Thursday, and certainly Friday, nobody needs to be there necessarily. You can dwindle down to one person who's there for certain hours. It's really just going to be at the beginning as all that rush is happening and things are changing and new spectators are coming into the system.
Yeah.
Got it.
And I would assume Marist only picks up on Monday, right? We don't do anything there on Sunday.
Right. So it'd be Monday, Tuesday.
Yeah. I'm going there this afternoon if anyone needs to take a picture of anything.
Awesome.
Yes.
What are you going there this afternoon for?
Noah's got a basketball game.
Oh, fun. Okay.
Good reason to go.
Yes.
All right,
Well, I
guys.
think
So
when we went, Carissa, we identified like where that room would be. Like, I don't know if you remember, but there was a good spot.
We're gonna have to go again because
Oh, I know.
we're gonna need to solidify where we're doing hang time, and I don't know where that is in regards to medical and
Right.
and Maccabi Central.
Got it.
exactly. I was going to say those are the, you want to keep Maccabi Central and Medical if you can in somewhat close proximity to one another. That way there's, the communication line out if somebody should need it. And also they're not being dragged across campus from the medical where their team may be.
Got it.
Perfect. So if you guys don't mind, let's dive into the training. And of course, we'll break for questions and I'll leave it open at the end for questions. I have nothing after this, so I am all yours to make sure we have everything covered that you guys may have questions about.
Great.
So welcome to our second training and our more in-depth training. There's going to be one more that's sort of this higher level in-depth for you guys. And then from there, we're going to have some conversations about what your supportive staff who's going to be in the system with you this summer looks like and what individual trainings we want to set up for those guys to make sure you're comfortable with them being on board and that they have the skill set needed to move forward in the system so you guys can really dive in head first and start doing all you need to in the system. The caveat to that, of course, is keep in mind as we get closer to the housing matching process and that aspect of things, we're going to do significantly more trainings, more hands-on. I'm going to do them in person with you guys when we have our training on the ground with you after the delegation head meeting in the spring. And at that point, we're sort of reconvene as a group again and make sure that everybody's comfortable and do those higher level trainings again.
Good.
So creating reports. One of the things that we went through when we were in the system last time was the ability to run reports. So one of the things that we talked about that you guys have as our highest level access is the ability to create reports. I hope you guys had the opportunity to go in the system and see a little bit. As I indicated in our first training, there are a variety of pre-built reports that we have devised based on feedback from our host communities in past years. And within each one of those, categories, there's an overall all-inclusive report that pulls legitimately every column and every question that is asked of that specific user. Of course, there's going to be times and certain places where you want to look at maybe a specific sport or you want to look at a specific group of volunteers or a specific group of host families, and creating your own reports will allow you the opportunity to do that and pull and tell the system which specific questions you want it to pull from those specific users. So in order to do that, you'll see when you log into the system on that main top bar, it's going to be all the way to the right-hand side is a settings bar. When you drop that bar down, you'll see the opportunity where you see some additional forms and sort of back-end access that you guys have. One of those is reports. One of the other things that we're going to discuss today is going to be emails and scheduler. You guys really will not be touching the forms at any point in time. That's really our build out for the forms, and it's how we built your system to this point. Again, I will really be the only one touching those, and it's really only as needed. Products are where we've built our costs for visiting delegations, as well as our continental delegations as it relates to spectator costs. So again, you guys will not be touching that, but within those products offers a local Atlanta discount, which ensures none of your local Atlanta people are charged for their spectators. Beneath it, you see a variety of things. As you can see, they're grayed out, so you guys will not have access to these things. So again, in that drop-down menu, you're going to see the opportunity to click reports. Once you click reports, you're going to see a little box that pops up and your page will refresh. And on the top right-hand side, you're going to see the opportunity to click create a new report or create a new category. As you'll see, if you look at your pre-existing filters, there's already a category called host community. We ask that any of the filters you build, you continue to store in that folder. Alternatively, if you want to build specific folders out for yourself with regards to potentially athletic folders or host family categories, we ask that you do so and that you clearly label them that they relate to the host community, just because our visiting delegation heads will also see all these reports. And we want to make sure we're clearly indicating that these are for your use and they're not for the visiting delegation heads' use. So you'll go ahead and you'll click on create a new report, and your window, a little pop-up window will appear on your screen that gives you the opportunity to select what category that report is going to be filed under. You're allowed to give it a report name, and you have the opportunity to set it as a quick view, which we discussed in our last training. If you set it as a quick view, every time you click on your reports drop-down menu to apply a report, this report will pull up as one of your first options. Once you've entered all that information, you're going to go ahead and click create and add fields to this report.
Are we supposed to be seeing that? Okay, there you go.
And again, just as all the other trainings, guys, I will be sending you a YouTube link where you can view this, and you'll get the PowerPoint as well for your use moving forward, as will be the case with all of our trainings moving forward. So now your screen will refresh, and it's going to ask you to select what questions within the registration system do you want this report to pull for you. So you'll click select form to add field from, and there'll be a drop down of every single form associated with every type of user in the system. So you'll go ahead and you'll scroll down to the form that you'd like to pull information from. In this example, we're looking at the basic information, which is where all of our users enter their name, their home address, and sort of the personal information as it relates to themselves as a user. Once you click basic information, your screen will refresh with all of the questions that are on that page. You'll then scroll around and identify the questions that you want to ask and that you want the information as it relates to their answers, and you'll click the blue button that says add to report. You'll do this for all of the fields that you want to. You'll make sure you add everything. You'll be able at any point in time to go back to that select form and field drop-down menu and go through different forms to select all the fields that you'd like to have added. Once you've done so, you're going to go ahead and you'll see a green button on top that says that's it, I'm done adding fields. So again, you've gone through the entire registration. You've added all of the fields that you want to pull in this report. All of the questions that you want are there. Keep in mind that depending on your level access, you may want to include things such as delegation, just to clarify sort of ownership on where these individuals belong to. Also remember, whenever pulling a report, the first step is filtering the system and telling the system which type of users we'd like to pull this report on. Again, once you've indicated that's it, I'm all done adding fields, you'll then be able to access this report under that reports tab where all of your reports live when the time comes that you'd like to pull them. Any questions about the building report process before we move on to emails? Great. So emailing, again, is going to be one of the things that you guys have a higher level access to. You guys will be able to build and customize emails. Any of your users will be able to send them. However, in order to customize it, they'd have to come to you with language they wanted to use. Again, we do this specifically because we want to make sure any language that's coming on behalf of JCC Maccabi in Atlanta is screened and goes through you guys before it's sent out to your constituents. So again, you'll go to that settings dropdown, and this time we're going to click emails. The same way that you've got the opportunity in reports to either create a new template, create a category, or create a new template, you have the same thing here as well. In order to create a new category, and again, if you log into the system, you'll see we have pre-designed categories as they relate to the host community, as they relate to welcome emails. But should you want to create a new category, by all means, feel free to do so. Same thing as the reports. Please just make sure you indicate it clearly that those emails correlate to the host community, so that our visiting delegations don't accidentally use them and send those to their athletes and their artists and their visiting spectators. In order to create a new template, the process is going to be a little bit different for emails as opposed to what it is for reports. In this instance, we don't want you to create a new template. I have built a template for you that contains the Atlanta logo and the JCC Maccabi Games logo. So we want you to use this. That way the branding is going to be in every single one of our emails moving forward. So what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and you're going to see when you're getting into the email page, it says template with logo, and it's under the template form, and it's going to be at the top of your viewing bar. So you go ahead and you're going to check off that box next to template with logo. You're going to go on top to the left-hand side where there's a tools menu. It'll drop down, and you're going to go ahead and click copy templates. You'll then see that your window will refresh, and you'll have a copy of template logo there for you. You'll be able to go ahead, click on that name, and you'll see that next to the copy of template logo, once you hover over it, the opportunity to edit the email, to edit the title of the email, and then to trigger it will be there. We ask that you go ahead and you click the first edit button, and you change the title of the email to whatever you'd like. Again, it's going to come over as copy of template with logo. Please change it to whatever sort of category or naming that you feel is appropriate so that you can access it and find it later easily. Again, you're also going to select what category you'd like to file it in, whether it's the general host community emails or it's a subcategory that you have derived yourself. Once you've done that, you're going to go ahead and you'll see on the bottom there's the opportunity to edit your text. You'll go ahead and click edit text. Again, I also want to remind you that you'll see on this screen there's the opportunity to save it and come back to it later if you're not ready to build the email yet. And there is the opportunity to delete it if you've built in an error and don't actually need that email moving forward. So again, this sort of explains what we saw a little bit on that last page. In more detail, when you see that flip over, you're going to see copy of email template is what your screen will look like when it appears. So you'll see now we've named the template, we've gone in. We're going to hit that edit text button, and as you can see on the right-hand corner of your screen now, this is what the email is going to look like. So as I indicated, it's going to have both of our logos on there, so we get appropriate branding when emails are distributed. And I've also built in for you a trigger that's Dear Legal First. So we'll speak about a token rather. We'll speak about tokens in a moment, but I just want you to see that this is going to be the template that you'll be able to build all of your emails off of. So tokens allow us to customize emails. Similar to, I don't know if you guys have utilized MailChimp or a mail merge for emails before, but this allows all of our emails to go out with a personal reference or contain personal information as it relates to each user. So for example, in the template that I've built for you, it says Dear Legal First Name. So for every individual who receives this email, it will say Dear and then their personal address of their first name. We can do last names, we can do whatever you'd prefer, but that opportunity is there. This tokening process is available for any question that's asked in the system. So for example, we use these tokening opportunities when we're sending confirmation emails about volunteer shifts. What we'll do is we'll build in the individual user's confirmed volunteer shifts. So when the email goes to that user, their email will specifically show the shifts that they have signed up for. Something that's great that RegPack added last year is in any emails that regard volunteer shifts that they've confirmed, users will also have the opportunity to click a button and their specific shifts will be downloaded to their iCalendar or their Google Calendar, and automatic reminders will be set. So they don't need to worry about did they forget their shifts, they can automatically be downloaded into their phone for them with reminders.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's a nice development over the last couple of years with RegPack. We were super excited when it happened. And you know, we can talk through with you guys as well what your game plan is. Because again, we'll talk about it in a moment with emails. We have two ways of sending emails. One is based on a level of completion or based on a user doing something. The other is sort of automatic. I'm sorry, there's three. And then the last one is going to be when we decide to. So we can send follow-up emails, we can send reminder emails, all customized as well to each individual user. Once you can see in the top right corner, once you've edited your email, once you've added your text, once you've added all of your tokens, you have the opportunity to view an example of your email where you'll see how it'll look for the user. In that example, it will pull all of the triggers and all of the tokens for the first user that has been indicated this email may go to. So you'll see a real-life example with the user's information pulled into it, so you can double-check and ensure everything looks copacetic and as it should prior to you sending the email to the field. Once everything looks good to go, you'll go ahead and hit save. One of the other things I want to point out here is the subject line, and it's sort of highlighted in the top of your page here. You want to make sure that you adjust the subject line. If you don't adjust the subject line will automatically fill with the name of your email. So you can see here, it's templates with Atlanta logo. So you want to make sure that you're adjusting the subject line and saving it prior to sending to the field.
And we just do that by going into the subject line.
100%. So these pieces will be edited like any email in your system.
Got
like
it.
if you're sending from Outlook.
And so you do it in the body. When you
Yep.
edit text, that's in the body and all that.
Exactly. And all of it is manipulable. All of it pops up. And again, God forbid, or accidentally you delete an email or you delete a logo or something, you have that opportunity to go back. You can delete this email, recopy the template email and start fresh.
Got it.
Alternatively, through my lovely years in RegPack, I've learned how to code in HTML. And if you need me to add a different logo, or if you have a PDF or an image that you want to include in any of your emails, please just reach out and we can code that into an email for you as well.
Cool. Okay.
Technology is a beautiful thing when you learn how to use it.
It is. Yeah.
It was a little daunting at first, but now I'm like, oh my God, this does amazing things. So now the process of triggering an email to be sent out. As I sort of discussed earlier, there are different ways that you can trigger an email to be sent. A trigger function is when we are telling the system, based on a user's action, we would like this email to go out. So in this example, we're sort of looking through how one would do that. So you're going to go to the email that you're looking to send, and you're going to click the same way when you hovered over the email and edit email text appeared, trigger also appears. And you're going to go ahead and you're going to click on that trigger button. Your page, a little pop-up is going to appear on your screen that shows choose sending options. And it's going to show what emails and what accounts you can send this from. We have a generic jccmaccabi@jcca.org. Feel free to use that. We will forward any emails that may come back to that to you. Of course, in the body of any email, we encourage you to put who to contact, phone numbers. We can click email links in there as well. So a user just has to click on that email and an email box will appear already being sent to that user. So think that through. One of the other things that we can do here is, if you would like, we can create a general email for JCC Maccabi Atlanta. So for example, if you guys have an internal, let's say, Gmail system, and Carissa, Laura, you guys wanted to build a, help at Atlanta, jccmaccabi.org or whatever it was, we can build that here as well as an admin account, and all of your emails can come from that email address. So I encourage you to.
Great.
Yep. And if you guys want to do that again, please just send that email over to me and we can update that in the system for you.
Just create have the email address created and then send you the address.
Exactly. And this way you guys can monitor any responses that may come back internally as you'd like.
I thought we were going to send them all from Lori's email directly.
Well, no, but I can have it
I'm
sent
kidding.
and filtered into inbox, right?
We had a host who accidentally did that to one of their interns a couple of years ago. And they accidentally put this kid's email address in, and this poor kid was getting hundreds of emails. He was like 17 and had no idea what to do with anything.
But if we do that help email, like I can have it sent directly to a separate folder in my email.
Yeah, your IT should be able to set that up for you.
Yeah, I'll have that.
Because I have that at my work. I've got 2 email addresses.
Right.
And it's one of those things that, Laura, you can also have it sent to multiple people if you guys wanted to.
Right.
So
I mean, and I can monitor it and forward it to the right people.
Exactly. But I think that's a great way to go about it. If you guys are comfortable owning that task, again, it's something that we offer from a national level to do it for you if you don't want to take it on. But if you'd like to take it on, I think that's great. So once we get that account in, you'll see that as a send from option. Again, so in here, you'll see your user account on top. You'll see the general JCC Maccabi, and then you'll be able to see sort of that general one for you guys as well. Other admins will just drop down anybody that has admin access to your account. Please don't do that. We don't want to have it come from a random delegation head. Then you'll select where you want the email to go to. And you're always going to click users. If you would like a copy to be sent to yourself, of course, you can click me as well. What you'll see here is that beneath that is send only once. And we want to make sure that this box is checked off. We want to make sure that we're not bombarding our users with the same email over and over and over again, especially they may have responded to the call of action that was in that email. And we don't want to, again, then we're getting them confused because they've already gone in the system and they've done this and what's happening. So we want to be selective to make sure that users only get that email once. To that, if we're pushing a follow-up email, let's say we've sent the first email we've sent as a reminder about your volunteer shift, and we want to send another one 2 weeks later, we'll duplicate that email and we'll push that one later on. So we can continue to send the same message. We'll just send it from a different email, and the system won't recognize it as the same, and it will send that email as well to all of the users we've indicated, even if they've received that earlier email. Once we've set those parameters up, we're going to hit, once you've hit user, you'll see that bottom screen that says select email fields appear. And this is going to be where the system gives us the locations where every user has entered their email address. And we're going to select which ones we want that email to go to, this email to go to. So for example, for your athletes and artists, or your athletes, they're putting in a parent guardian information, they're putting in an emergency contact. We don't want to send those people this email. We always want to send the welcome login email because that's the email account that was used to enter the system. And we always want to select the basic information because that's the individual email that the user had entered on their basic information page, and it will correlate to every single user in the system. So again, we're saying the basic information and we're saying our welcome are always the two we want to check. Once we have those checked off, we're going to hit select, and it's going to go through and we're going to be taken to set events. And set events is basically us being able to tell the system when a user does X, Y, Z, I would like this email to be sent. And the tool that you're going to work with looks very similar, if not identical, to the filtering tool that you're using sort of on the front end of the system or the back end of the system that we reviewed in our first training when you're telling the system to look for specific users. So again, same logistical idea here. We're going to be looking at either the fields or the forms. So we either want an email to go when a certain form is completed, or we want an email to go once a certain question has been answered. So you'll see here, in this example, we're saying once the host family housing questions have been completed, we would like this email to be sent. Similar to our review when we were talking about filters, we want to make sure that we're looking at all conditions are required versus any condition is sufficient. You can build layers here as well. You can build intermittent layers as well. So let's say you wanted to say, I want this email to be sent when the basic information form is completed and the user answers a question about host family placement. You'll be able to add those layers here as well. Excuse me. Once you've put in all the conditions, you double check to make sure all the events are showing on the right-hand side. You double checked your conditions. You're going to go ahead and click That's it, I'm finished. Any questions about that process? So once you've gone through that and your conditions have been sent, once the user meets that condition, the email will be automatically sent. So unfortunately, I'm going to go live with it after we do this. I'm terribly sorry. I missed a slide about doing manual emails. So I will go live in the system as soon as we're done with this part to show you how to manually push as well based on individual users. So now we're going to talk about your scheduler and your shifts. So one of the things that you're also going to get after this call is one-pagers that talk specifically about using the shift process in addition to emails and follow-up tools. Again, I want to make sure that you guys feel confident and empowered to manage the system on your own as best you can. So I'm going to continue to send you guys additional training pieces and tools and references along the way. If you guys feel that you need clarification or anything additional, please don't hesitate to reach out. Again, my goal is to make sure you guys feel empowered to run this system. So in order to adjust our scheduler, and again, our scheduler is going to be where all of our volunteer shifts live, you're going to go to that same settings drop-down menu, and you're going to go ahead and you're going to click on scheduler. You're then going to see basically all of the shifts that you currently have in the system. On the top right-hand side, you're going to be able to create a new time unit, and a new time unit is a new shift. So once you click that button, you'll see this little on sort of the bottom middle right-hand side of your screen. You'll see this screen appears that says, build a unit, you can create a block. You'll also see the opportunity to edit a block and do things there. And we'll walk through all that process in a moment. But in order to create a new one, you're going to go ahead and in this box, you're going to select the schedule that it lives under, and your schedule are going to be all the categories that we built your volunteer shifts around. So arrivals and departures, safety and security, athletics, whatever it may be, those are all going to be in this drop-down menu for your scheduler. You're going to select which category it belongs in. You're going to go ahead and you're going to give it a title, which is what label is. You're going to indicate sort of, again, is it, a handing out snack shift? Is it a scorekeeper shift? Is it a time saver shift? You're going to put that in the label. You're going to indicate the date and the time of the shift, when the shift begins, where the shift ends. You're going to give it a location. With location, please be careful. You want to make sure that the location matches how that location has been entered for other shifts in your scheduler. So when you're adding location, just make sure you're referencing that initial spreadsheet that you provided to us. Because let's say I'm throwing in the park, you're using a venue that's called Michael Charles Stadium. And you put it initially as Michael Charles Stadium, but when you're putting it in here, it's MS Stadium. MC Stadium, they're not going to be the same, and it's not going to recognize it the same when your front-end users are filtering for shifts. So please be aware of the location and how it's being entered. Again, you can always reference that initial volunteer shift that you sent us because that's what we built your system off of. You're then going to tell the system how many people can be in this volunteer shift, and that's going to be your slots. Again, it's a click up, click down. You're going to set your number. And then you're going to put in a little one-line description. What is this volunteer shift about? Are they going to be standing for a long period of time? Are they going to be out in the heat? Are they going to be indoors? Just a little bit of a description so that users know what they're signing up for. One of the other things I want to point out to you are going to be the two sort of slide buttons on the right-hand side. And that's admin only unit, and that's lock once the user has selected. So admin only unit is going to be for your higher end shifts. It's going to be for your medical team that's being filled by doctors. It's going to be for your commissioners. It's going to be for your venue directors. It's going to be for the people who we need to get in the system but have pre-designed shifts and pre-designed responsibilities that aren't general for the field. And what happens at that point is once that user has registered themselves from the front end, we will go into the back end and we will add, as we sort of learned in that last training, we will add the specific shifts to that user because users will not see them from the front end. It will only be shifts that we see from the back end as admin administrators. The other piece is going to be lock once selected. We strongly recommend that you utilize this feature. However, once you click on, you have the option to select in what time frame the shift locks. We don't recommend that you lock them once a user has selected them. We want to give our users the autonomy to go back in the system and adjust shifts, especially at this stage in the game when they're still manipulating their schedule and they're still trying to figure out their availability and their preferences for this summer. However, we do strongly encourage you, and we did this for a majority of your shifts when we uploaded them to the system, is to lock them 72 hours out. What that means and what that protects us from is that a user cannot go into the system 24, 48 hours before their scheduled shift and delete it. They're going to have to, in theory, call you or talk to you or email you or communicate with you that they won't be showing up for their shift. We found over the last couple of years that this decreases the amount of no-shows and really allows volunteer committees to plan accordingly if they need to fill in additional shifts within a 3-day window, so it gives more opportunity time to, again, find somebody who can take over that shift for that user. Once you've filled in all your criteria as it correlates to that specific shift, you're going to go ahead and either hit create or save and create another, depending on if you have additional shifts you'd like to add at that point in time. Any questions about creating a new shift? Great. So similarly, we can edit any shift that's in the system. So let's say we're going through and we realize, it's loaded as an AM instead of a PM. Or we initially thought we needed 40 people for that shift. Now that we're a little deeper in the planning process, we only need 30. Or we thought we were going to need 5, and it turns out we need 12. We can make all of those adjustments to our existing time schedules and time volunteer slots in the system. In order to do that, you're going to go to that same settings dropdown. You're going to click on that same scheduler again. As I indicated, it gives you that same filter options as it does from the front end when you're sorting as a user, and the back end when you're looking to add a shift. You're going to use those filter options to isolate the shift that you're looking to adjust. Once you've indicated all those filter options, you're going to hit find, and again, your screen will refresh with the specific shifts based on those filter criteria that you've entered into the system. At that point in time, you're going to go ahead, you're going to click on the shift, and you're going to go ahead and you'll hover over it, and there's the opportunity to edit. You're going to click edit, and your screen will appear with all the information that you've currently entered into that shift. Again, all of it is now malleable, and you can adjust as you need to. You can also see on the screen.
That's a random question.
Of course.
Where can I see all the schedule? Is that just on the, like when you click scheduler, like that's where it is living now, the spreadsheet?
100%.
Okay.
You can look at it. If you go to your general scheduler from the back end and you just click on it, it'll show you all the shifts. Just keep in mind that it shows you by month. So because you guys go a little bit into a following month, you want to make sure, like, don't log in and go, oh my God, it's only showing me July. We have August shift too. Make sure you click, because they're all there. It just only gives you a month view at a time. You also can set your views if you'd like. So let's say, for example, you wanted to see 1 week at a time or 1 day at a time. You can set that view up as well.
I think we only have shifts that are the week of the games. So at this point.
Okay. I mean, again, you may, as you get closer, you may find that you need some volunteers before.
Right.
Or you want to help you stuff bags or prep, prep things ahead of time.
Yeah.
And depending on how it goes, you may want shifts after. You may want a volunteer committee to come together and plan a reunion. You may want something along those lines, and this will allow you to build those in for now if you want to as well.
Perfect.
And again, the system will stay open until about October. So we give you time to access any information and plan information you want. So to that, if you wanted to send emails and utilize the system for your host community after the actual event, you still can. You'll have that access again for another month or two post the event.
Great.
Yeah. So again, I know we always get caught up in the week of and all the prep,
But there's
keep in
other
mind,
stuff.
it's
Yeah.
certainly something you can use for a little while afterwards as well, as you want to continue to engage your community. You want to send surveys, you want to, whatever you want to do, you can do it through the system as well.
Hey, Dina, I know you can edit each unit. Can you mass edit?
So you can mass edit, but it's a little tricky. So you can mass edit when it comes to triggers. You can mass edit when it comes to things like that. But as far as mass editing shifts, because they all have such unique characteristics, such as time and location, it's a little tricky to do. And 9 times out of 10 will get you in more trouble than good. Because then you change for 15 shifts and you realize, oh crap, I didn't need all of these pieces to change for all 15 shifts. And then you're going back to the remaining 14 and making individual adjustments to those.
I was just asking because I know I'm still working on all the athletic venues and I can't remember what we all put in, but if any of our venues changed, like the mass edit location of like
yes, that would make 100% sense. Yep, and then you would use the filter tool, Carissa, and you'd say, I'm looking for these sports that are currently at this venue. It would pull up all of them. You'd click sort of on the left-hand side as a checkbox, as there is for sort of all the functionalities. You click on all of those checkboxes, and in the top right-hand corner, a box is going to appear that says Edit All. And you'll just click on that and make the adjustment you need to, and it'll refresh them.
And then in the same breath, can you create mass shifts? Or no?
No, because again, the issue there is it's the individual information that needs to be plugged into them.
Okay.
That it will allow you. But again, you can create a new location, you can create a new schedule, a new sort of category for it, and then fill them in under it.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Not a problem. And just as a point of reference, on average, building a scheduler takes about 15 seconds. As long as you have the information in front of you, it's really not a hard process. It's pretty quick.
I remembered that, but I couldn't remember if I could do mass or not.
Of course. So one of the things you'll see here too, guys, on the right-hand side that I want to point out is you'll see here this where we've turned it on and we've set that 72-hour lock unit. So you can see what that looks like when you click over to it.
Mm-hmm.
So again, once you've made the updates here, you'll go ahead and you'll click that update button in the bottom right-hand corner, and your shift will now be refreshed. You also, at any point in time, can delete a shift if you no longer need it, and there's a red delete button in that bottom left-hand corner that you can utilize. The one thing that I ask you to be cautious of is if you're deleting a shift that has users who have signed up for it, we need to communicate with that user first that shift is going to be deleted. Don't just delete it because it will not automatically be removed from their calendar, and then all of a sudden they're showing up for something that no longer exists. So you want to take a peek at who those users are first, and then as I said in a minute, I'll show you guys live in the system how you send an email to individual users, and you'll just send an email to those 2 or 3 people saying, just a friendly reach out. We've edited this shift. We've removed this shift. Here are some other shifts we think you may be interested in. Please go ahead and and log back into the system and choose your next best options.
So, is this something we would be doing like week of if it's raining and there's a rain out in baseball? We want to just delete the whole shift. Let's let all the baseball people, volunteers know that it's canceled, and then delete the shift.
Exactly.
And it won't rain though.
No, not at all.
No.
Nobody saw St. Louis a couple years back. We're going to have absolutely no rain. We got it all out of our system then.
Yeah.
Yes, no rain.
My parents hosted there. They heard all about it.
No. We got it all out of our system in St. Louis.
In 1 week.
Pretty much. So again, this is what you're going to do. So again, if you're going to delete shifts, Jordan, to your point, you can go ahead, you can email everybody in that shift, and you'll go ahead and make that notification, and you go ahead and remove it from the system at that point in time. Any questions about editing shifts, about adding shifts, about doing anything to that component?
No.
Great. So what I want to do is as I sort of indicated, I want to jump in and show you guys sort of the individual email function. So when you log into the system, as you guys know, you sort of see this main user screen. So if you want to send an email to an individual user, let's see, I think my test is still in here. You go ahead, you filter for a user, and you click the checkbox next to their name. You'll now see that on the right-hand side, a variety of buttons appeared that aren't there when you don't click. And when you do click, they do appear. And you go ahead and you'll hit send message. And then you're going to select what message you want to send. And the same way that when we were triggering them, we told the system where we wanted it to go to, we're going to hit that to button. And we're going to it's going to be that same pop-up. We're going to say welcome email, basic information. And then we're going to select the email that we want to send.
We have a free one today.
And then you get to see, it'll show you of what it looks like. It'll show you the title. It'll show you what the email actually looks like itself. And then you can go ahead and hit send. The same way that you were able to dictate where that email came from when you were triggering it, you can do the same here by hitting change email address, and you'll see it'll toggle through your available options in the system. And make sure you're sending it from the right one. Similarly, you can go here and change the email template that you want to send at any point in time by just clicking over.
Can I ask a question? For the athletes that have already gone in the system and signed up, have they got, is it set up once somebody completes registration that they get that welcome email?
Yes, so I'll show you guys here, and it'll show you sort of triggers in real life. As we talk through some of the categories that you guys have, we, you've got your host community emails, and again, these are ones that we've used in the past other communities that we'll build and insert your language in as we go along the way. But here are the emails that sort of, Laura, you guys had sent us.
Right.
Your welcome emails. And you can see an example of what they look like when they go out. And these, we use those triggers and we set them up. And you can see a trigger's in place when there's a little lightning bolt next to it. And you can click on it and you can see once a user has met any of this criteria, they're getting that email. So when they've
so that's already set. We don't need to do that.
No, and again, here for your host family welcome, your host family volunteer, if they select that level of participation, they get that individual email.
Got it.
And again, as we go through, you'll see there's like volunteer shift reminders that we'll work with you guys on. There's a variety of emails that we can work with you guys to, again, make sure. And you'll see in this one, which is the one that goes to your host families once they've been placed with their teens, this coding right here will pull the actual teen in their house and medical information and contact information for that teen as well.
Got it.
Yeah.
So go back to the host family volunteer welcome. Can I just see what it says right now?
Of course.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep. So this is the one that's in the system now. And again, you guys can
But we didn't show them where to go sign up for their shifts yet.
No.
So we have to do that.
These are editable, Lori. So if you want to take your first stab and log into the system, you're going into the email, you're going to edit email text.
Got it.
You're going to go wherever you want to edit it, and then you can go ahead and this button right here will link things.
And I can put the embedded link in and say.
Highlight, exactly, and link it. And you guys will see up here too, the one thing that we don't have the ability to change, which kind of threw me off a little bit, as a visual person, is the ability to change the font. This font is the font that you get. It is what it is. But you can change the sizing, you can change the color, you can bold, you can italicize, you can do all the things that you can sort of do with a regular email, inclusive of adding a table. So if you wanted to add if you wanted to, for example, pull this into a nice table, you could do that too as well. So there is some opportunity to sort of design here. Just be careful when you're looking in here, make sure that source is off. Because if you see source, it's going to be a bit confusing.
Right.
So you're looking at without source.
Don't you know we're all versed in HTML code?
I mean, the Maccabi process.
Jordan might be. I'm not. Yeah.
I am not a coder. No way.
We can all learn together.
But
I'll
that's
make my
where
son learn and teach me how to do it.
If you have PDFs or if you have images, God bless RegPack, I've learned how to do all this nonsense so that I can add that for you if you want. So we'd be able to put a different photo or a different image in here for you if there was something exciting or something different that you wanted to pull in.
All right.
Actually, to that, I want to show you some examples. I think Fort Lauderdale, God bless them, and it depends on sort of what you're looking to do and how you want to do it, I think they were 15, did incredible things with their emails. They had somebody on staff who was technically savvy in lots of ways, but they really customized their emails to a level that I've never seen before. and put all of these like token things in, put all these image things, put custom things with links. We can do all of that for you guys if you want to. Again, it's just how creative do you want to be, and how in depth do you want to go. But they built out these like incredible branded logo. They had sponsors included. So again, we can do all this for you if you want as well. But just wanted to show you that that is an option. Again, it depends how much time you want to commit, but that's there if you wanted to do more than just build out language.
Awesome.
Okay, that's confusing.
Very confusing. But again, if you did this all, let's say on like a PDF or a flyer, and you built it all there, we could throw it into the system. And I'll be completely honest.
I was just looking at some of the PDFs you shared with me, and Carissa shared some with me yesterday too from Milwaukee. Like, can I take those and just update them for Atlanta with our logos and
100%.
Yeah.
Part of the deal in your host agreement is that we get all that stuff at the end so that we can do just this and provide it to your host.
Got it.
Yep. So 100.
We need to do that, and then.
Yeah, and again, any of that we can throw in these. We can whatever you guys want. We can really build these out to be as much or as little as you guys like. And I'll be honest, most hosts go with just language and some logos. But we've seen hosts really want to put intentionality towards their visual exposure. Go to this level.
Right.
At the same, it can be simpler. You can give me a header. You can give me like a little card logo that you want on the bottom. It doesn't have to be to the same extent that Fort Lauderdale did. They definitely went above and beyond. It's up to you.
Got it.
Right?
Yes.
Great. So that's sort of what we needed to cover this morning. Again, thank you guys. Any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. I will send you guys a sort of summary with, again, the points that we talked about today, a copy of the webinar and things for you guys to reference in the future. And I'll reach out to you guys with sort of the next bullet points to start thinking about so we can set up some of those more individualized trainings and get some of your sort of constituents on board with what they need to be working with.
Cool.
Hey,
Jordan, you and I are going to have to get together and start
mapping out who.
Yeah, exactly. And all these emails.
Definitely Lauren and Rick and Michelle.
Yeah, we need to sit down with them.
Yeah, and we'll figure out what else we need to do.
Yep.
Exactly.
Okay.
And again, the beauty of it is that we're ahead of the curve. We're typically not launching a system until now. So we're already, 2 or 3 trainings into this process.
Great.
So you're doing great with time, and we're ahead of the curve, and we'll be able to build all this stuff out. One of the other things I encourage you to do, and it's something that sometimes gets lost in translation, is, I can send you a list of the typical emails and start thinking about language.
That's what I would like. I would like that list so I can start.
Yep, and we can build them in, and then of course they're editable, right? So if you give me language, I can throw all of that in for now, and then as we get closer, you guys can go in and edit the language and make the little adjustments that you need to, and push them out.
Will you send me the list? We talked about touch points, and I'm assuming that's the same thing, like just which emails and when we typically push them out.
Exactly, and sort of the general consensus of what the information holds, whether it's a thanks for signing up or a thanks for being engaged. And it's also strategic, Lori. You have to think through, you're going to have some people that come in and have registered already as a host family. It's January. They're not going to hear from you again about programmatical stuff until March, April, potentially. What are your touch points? What are things that you can share with them? Are there, cool, unique things that maybe some of your sponsors for the event are doing that you can push to them? How do you make sure that Maccabi is still on their brain and it's not just once every 3 months that they hear from you and then they hear from you every week?
Exactly. All right.
Dina, I have a quick question.
Yes.
Can you delete the test things? I know you can. I just don't remember how to do it. Like, for example, all of the tests that I made when I was trying to practice. How do you delete them?
So you can search by test. So these have all been removed. You can see sort of because of the coloring on it. But one of the beautiful things that you can do is, I would say the best way to go about it, and I'm happy to help this in any way you need, is go by application date.
I don't like this.
Hold on, I'm looking in the other.
Oh, look, there I am.
So for example, these are all me, and we know these are all tests. So go ahead, click all of them. You'll go to set status as, and you'll go deleted by user. And it's, again, like I said, there's so many safety things in here now that you can't just go click and delete.
Delete.
Say, do you want to do this to all of them? You're going to say, yes, I want to do them to all of them. If you're doing it for anybody more than 10, it's going to ask you to enter your password.
Okay.
But by doing this, now these have been archived. So something that's important to know with our system is information is never deleted, which I think I mentioned before. It only gets archived. So let's say, for example, crap, I realized that I want to use this for my registration to register myself as a JCC Association staff. Or again, you've got a host family that dropped out and now comes back in. You'll go to that status and you'll go ahead and hit remove status for the user, and then you'll see them active again.
Okay.
And all the information that I entered is still there.
Okay.
So the username that we created for our 3, like me, Chris, and Jordan, is that the same information we use to register our kids? Like Jordan has kids, I have kids, or do we use like our Gmail to do that?
Yeah, you're going to go into the front end of the system. So you'll go ahead and you can visit. This is where we have our national. I'm sure you guys have a local website as well where it's linked. You go to jccmaccabigames.org. You can see right here, register for Atlanta, and you can click there, and you'll see the registration is embedded into the website.
Right.
And you'll just go ahead and you'll register here.
But using my personal info.
Exactly.
Separate. Okay. Right. Got it.
Exactly. And this will be your entrance into the front end. And the beauty of it is that if you ever need to change anything, you've got access to
the back end. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
When you said in that set status area, is that for everyone? Like all those options when you open yours? Because when I opened mine, I only had like 7 of them.
Really?
I remember more, because I didn't see deleted by user or set to be deleted or any of that when I was logged in, but that might have been too early. So
yeah, and look for your statuses down on the bottom here because these are going to be your archived users.
Okay.
So those are going to be the ones you want to use for. You can also at any point in time create a new status if you want to. You'll go ahead, type it in. If you wanted to be an archived user, like let's say you wanted a status was like dropped host family, you could do that here as well.
Okay.
And it allows you to track them because then what you can do is when you go to your filters, if you wanted to, you can filter by status. So let's say you wanted to filter for all of your families that were dropped host families, you can do that.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, that gives you the option. Again, if you guys get comfortable, and I sort of was saying to Jordan before, it's based on your comfort level. RegPack can do incredible things on much higher levels. So we're doing our sort of basic training, and if you guys get comfortable with this and are ready and feel empowered to move on to other things, I mean, RegPack really can do incredible things. Yeah, it really can. And I've got to the point where I'm comfortable imparting that wisdom on anyone. So if you guys, again, get to the point where you're comfortable, one of the things that I actually want to show you quickly that I was talking to Jordan about before is analytics. So for example, let's say you wanted to look at your host families and volunteers that are doing both. We click the report. I mean, again, I'm just going to click anyone just to pull the report here. You can view things as statistic views. So RegPack gives you the opportunity to build analytical views and download them and combine them, and you can do all sorts of stuff to build presentations. So once this event is over and you guys want to turn to your board and you want to turn to your community and say, here's how we impacted, here's what we did, you'll be able to see how many volunteers, how many what, and you'll be able to see it all in graph views.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'll be able to walk you guys through what that looks like as well, and we can download them as editable or non-editable. And again, you can build out full presentations in the system. So again, as you guys get more comfortable with this, and if you feel empowered to do so, I'd love to teach you how to use all this stuff.
Cool. Yeah.
All right. Well, again, thank you guys so much. I look forward to talking with you guys soon. I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend, and we will touch base shortly.
Awesome. Thank you.
Bye.
Have a good one, guys. Bye.
Bye.